Hi guys, this is Don Robertine here with you and giving you a roundup of patch 5.4.7, which is the new World of Warcraft patch that is coming for the US. That's in the 18th of February, and for the EU, that's a day later on the 19th, during the normal maintenance of this next week. So there's a lot coming in with the new patch, a lot of technical stuff, so not so much as new content. This is not a content patch, this is more just setting things up to make it a bit easier for the Warlords of Draenor expansion. So first off, let's get some of the patch notes out of the way, some of the big ones. The biggest one I think will be the Scroll of Resurrection that is being retired with this patch, okay? So if you haven't got your invites out, you've got very little time to do it as this video goes up. You've probably got about a day or so to get those invites out. Now, if you send your invite out before the new patch comes in, then that invite is valid for 30 days, assuming that your friend receives the invite. So make sure that your friend has unblocked their spam settings temporarily, or make sure that they check the spam and junk folders just in case the Scroll of Resurrection has ended up in those folders. Alternatively, you can make sure that Blizzard's email, so just do not reply at blizzard.com, is added to the address book, and that should hopefully help out as well. So with that, we've got PvP Season 14 is going to end as well, so that's going to be fun. Basically, we're on Season 14. Season 15 was put in as a stopgap measure. Looks like they're going to utilize that stopgap measure. Now, the Season 15 gear is pretty much the exact same models as Season 14, but the colors have been switched between the two factions. So, the Alliance colors for Season 14, and now the Horde's colors for Season 15, and so on. So it's mainly just to have a bit of ranking, have a bit of fun. So no new snazzy rewards or armor sets this time around. Now there are a couple of PvP changes coming in that I thought I'd point out. One of the main ones is the base resilience. Now for level 90s, this used to be 72% was the base resilience. That's now going up to 77% with the new patch. If you're below level 90, so level 89 and below, you'll remain at the 40% base resilience values. So hopefully for that high-end endgame expansion PvP, you should see some changes going on there. Now, the other thing as well is battle fatigue. Reduces healing received in PvP. That used to be 55%, is now 60%. Okay, so a lot of kind of helpful things there to try and stop people relying on battle fatigue, and making battle fatigue one of those things that you really don't want to have happen. To get out of. Obviously the same mechanics for battle fatigue stands, it's just those percentage values aren't changing, so you might see a little bit of difference there. Another thing there with PvP is the set bonus for having 2 PvP trinkets equipped. Now, this used to give you 2,600 bonus resilience. Okay, now that's going up, but quite a considerable amount, up to 5,280 resilience. Okay, so that's quite an improvement. So for you PvPers, you're going to really want to have that 2 PvP trinket set. Sometimes, obviously, the PvE trinkets can give you a little bit more of an advantage, but come on, having that resilience there is going to help you out quite a lot for that. Now, for you arena guys, there is a change coming in to the 2v2 bracket if you're participating in that. Remember, the 2v2 bracket is not for ratings or for things for the end of season, so if you guys are only doing arenas for the mount stuff, you need not worry there. So for the 2v2 bracket, basically the dampening buff will get applied at the 5-minute mark. Okay, the other brackets will remain at 10 minutes. So just to refresh your memory, dampening basically reduces the healing and absorption rates. Okay, so it's hoping that we'll speed up some of the 2v2 matches that are going on, because let's face it, some of them are a little bit endless from time to time, especially if you come up against a double healer team. So hopefully that change will speed things up just a little bit. As well, we've got some battleground changes actually, to Alterac Valley. Okay, so this is quite a new one. Basically, some of the bosses in Alterac Valley have had their health and damage increased. So that should lead to a little bit more fun, a little bit more involvement with Alterac Valley. It may lead to a bit more frustration as you're trying to guide a group and they're just going one after the other and getting slaughtered, but hopefully with a bit of coordination, that should help. Now, this obviously affects all Alterac Valleys, so as far as I know, it happens to Rated Battlegrounds as well, so one to watch out for there as well. So, with the PvP stuff out of the way, let's move on to PvE. So for PvE, one of the big ones here is going to be the challenge modes. Okay, now challenge modes, the rankings are basically going to be disabled. Okay, so if you want the last ditch attempt to get number 1 of your realm, then you need to do that quick, because with the new patch you won't be able to get that new ranking, so you won't be able to top your friends. Just to also note as well that there is another patch coming before World of Draenor, which will completely remove Pandaria challenge modes. These might be reintroduced at a later date. They might be completely replaced by the Warlords of Draenor challenge modes. We just don't know at this time, so keep an eye out on the official website for more details on that one. Moving on to raiding, this change is only affecting 10-man heroic Siege of Orgrimmar, but basically Garrosh has had his abilities nerfed. Quite a few of them, but hopefully it should lead to a bit easier fights for those 10-man heroic guilds. If you guys are still participating with Garrosh, maybe it'll give you that last glimpse of getting that Garrosh kill before the next expansion drops. There, so as well, it's kind of PvE, PvP related, but for you guys who wish to have some honor points, the red spawns and Krasarang wilds basically will award you a little bit of honor, but only for the first kill of the day. So you can't just farm them all day every day. You kill them once and then that's you set. So that applies to each rare spawn in Krasarang wilds. So obviously you can kill 5 rare spawns and get honor points from each of them, but obviously once you kill that one unique one, then that's you done there. So moving on there to basically that's it for main PvP, PvE gameplay changes. Okay, but I wanted to go over a couple of other things because there's a lot of back end stuff. Now with this patch, the level 90 boost system is going in, but it's not available yet. Okay, so you'll want to keep an eye out on the official website for when that goes live. But basically, you know, it's in the patch, so it's ready, waiting just to be used. Now, just to go over, the level 90 boost system is basically a paid service, so much like the character transfers and the faction changes. You can purchase it in-game and on the website, and you'll be able to apply that to any character below level 90. Obviously, its best use is for maybe level 1 to level 90, but just to go over as well, if you boost a level 60 character, you will get a bonus to your primary professions, and you'll get your first aid leveled up as well. So it's a big bonus, well worth it. If you're into that, and if you've got a lot of alts as well, you've been through all the storyline, it's quite handy to basically use that boost and skip all the storyline that you've seen countless times and get yourself ready for that new expansion with your new class. As well, for friends as well, if you're coming back to the game, now's a good time to do it when the boost system goes live, because then you'll get to grips and you'll have a little bit of time before the expansion drops, before that level grind starts again, just to get a feel for the character, a feel for the changes and everything else. So well worth it there. Some of the other stuff that's coming in, there's a lot of notation changes, a lot of error message changes as well. Some error messages being made clear. Some of them give you clear instruction of what to do next, such as, you know, contact customer support and things like that. But as with character services as well, you can, just to remember, you can, if you make a mistake, you can contact customer support for a little bit of assistance. Just make sure you do that really quickly to get the best assistance. Even if those wait times are long, don't worry, just contact them and they'll be able to help sort you out. Now, the last thing we're going over here is some string changes. Okay, some more string changes. These are basically hinting at some of the World of Warcraft pre-sale stuff, and they're also indicating towards how the support is going. So we all know that with most expansions when they come out, the minimum system requirements usually get upgraded that little bit. So what seems to be happening here is that it's giving an indication as to whether your system will be okay. Now, whether these will be active per se with patch 5.4.7, that is unknown at the moment. But one thing is for sure, that the strings are going in there. So it's basically one of these things of they can be turned on closer to the time. Once we've got the minimum system specifications for World of the Draenor, you're likely going to see this happen. Now, you may be asking, right, okay, well, tell me what all this is about. Well, basically one of these strings, for instance, basically detects your video card and the driver in use. Okay, and if it's unsupported or out of date, the error will show. Okay, it links to a web page on the EU support site, or the US support site. If you're, depending on your region, it will direct you to the appropriate support site, and will basically tell you if your video card is supported or whether you need to update your video card drivers. So as with most games, a lot of you gamers out there will know that, hey, you've got to update your drivers quite a lot, and you've got to make sure that they're up to date and everything else, or at least one update behind the latest one. But for those of you who don't know, and those of you who are new to gaming, or World of Warcraft is the only game that you really play on the PC, you've got to make sure that the video card that you have is up to date, and make sure that the drives are up to date. So if you know what manufacturer your video card is, Nvidia or ATI is usually the most popular ones, you can go onto their website and basically they have some modern tools there to help detect which graphics card you have already and everything else, so that's quite handy. And it also shows you as well, just in case you do find, hey, I'm on the fringes of a video card, you know, there's also some strings in there that will basically tell you outright that your video card is not supported, which means that you will have to get a new video card, or graphics card in this case, before you install Warlords of Draenor. So that's an important one to make sure. So once those minimum specifications have been found for Warlords of Draenor, you can be sure that they're on the official support website, or on the official community website. Just to make sure that you guys know, for the Americans, this is us.battle.net/wow. That's WOW. And for the EU, much the same. It's just eu.battle.net/wow. So very important that you guys get up to date with that one, and make sure that your text specifications are up to date for Warlords of Draenor if you plan on getting it. I know I certainly am looking forward to Warlords of Draenor, and with this new patch, laying a lot of groundwork here for a lot of the upgrades. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little roundup of patch 5.4.7 as I've been flying around. Because there's not a new content update, I decided, hey, I'm going to do this wrap-up video while flying around Pandaria. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoy the future content from World of Warcraft as well, and if you have any feedback for this video, just leave some comments in the comment field, or just give me a message if you're unsure as well. And make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, but for now I shall make sure that you guys stay up to date and with current content in World of Warcraft. If you need anything else, you know where to find me. Bye bye.